In the fabled land of Northern California, nestled in the Valley of Sacramento, two friends begin a journey to enlighten the world about their experience living life as a Xennial. But what is a Xennial, you may ask? If you wish to know, then follow them on their adventures.
Welcome to the Xennial Chronicles. This is James.
This is Mike.
And, well, as you saw from the video, I believe Mike posted, right? You did post that video to YouTube?
You know what? I ended up not. I ended up not because in the middle of everything, I didn't have time to edit. Yeah, so
and your editing, just let it go raw as it is.
No.
Gosh, you're so worried about editing.
I have a name to keep
I don't
up
edit
here.
shit.
I know you don't. Drives me nuts.
I know. It's wonderful. So you didn't see from the video, but basically we had to take last week off because California's weather decided to hate us a lot again.
Dude, they've been hating us consistently for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, just insanity. In fact, we're recording again on a Sunday morning because, again, California weather is just,
Dude, right? It's insane.
And so it's a level of craziness that has just gone beyond, just fences almost falling down, awnings flying over the buildings. Right?
True story.
Right? Into the neighbors' front yards.
True friggin' story, man. Yeah, it's bad. So it will. Yeah, I will get to that because that's a thing that actually happened to me. There's a few things that happened to me. There's a few things that happened to you too, sir. Isn't there? It's just been
so many things.
Yeah,
so many things.
Do you want to tell your story? Do you want me to tell my story first? I got two stories to tell mainly, so.
We can work through a few of them. So like last week we were gonna, like usual, try to record on Friday, right? We're gonna record Friday night. Hey, we're gonna do the Friday night. We're gonna make the Friday night.
Yeah.
But then Friday night, there was issues.
Yep.
There was
lost
problems. Power. Yeah, weather-related issues, insanity from that, and so bad storm on last Friday night. Bad storm.
Yeah. Nasty winds.
Nasty winds.
Nasty, totally nasty.
And so, again, this is not Friday the 13th, which Friday January 13th. Whenever January 13th lands on a Friday, it's a fun day for me. I have personal reasons for that.
Oh,
I know somebody whose birthday is on January 13th, and every time it lands on a Friday, I make sure to address that person as the Bride of Frankenstein. I don't know why I started as a kid, even though the Friday the 13th has nothing to do with Frankenstein. My kid logic was, those are two horror things. I'm just going to mash them together.
Why not?
Because I don't know any better. Right?
Fair.
That's my brain on James, I guess.
That's the title for the episode. This is your brain on James.
No. We have the title of the episode. I told you it, but you don't remember.
I totally don't remember, dude. I'm less than halfway through my first cup of coffee. I'm probably gonna get up at some point during whatever break there may be, if we have to do an edit or whatever, and grab a second cup because I'm just not. Dude, I've been through the ringer for the last couple of weeks. I'm just totally burnt.
Actually, I forget the entire title too because it's been too long since I thought up the name of the title. Shit. And I told you the title. I didn't. You
didn't write it down.
Didn't write it down because I told it to you. So.
All right, one more point for this is your brain on James.
This is insane.
We're both like not okay. It's been a lot, man. And that's okay, because we can talk about it here. That's what this is for.
It has been a lot. So anyway, we didn't do it Friday because power lossage, all that stuff. We're like, hey, we're going to do this on Sunday morning. Saturday doesn't work. We'll do it on Sunday morning. And we knew Saturday was going to be a big storm too, so it's like not even try. We did not that Saturday. Last Saturday, not yesterday, but the last Saturday, my wife and I did not go out on our normal Saturday, going to do things, date night kind of thing, because we knew the storm was going to be bad. We knew that there was a possibility of power outage. And see, there's always in life, there's always a possibility of power going out. Mm-hmm. But when it's a storm that bad and there's There's flooding in various areas of Northern California. There's all these things going on. We didn't want to be away from home and have emergencies and not be able to get back to home when we knew that there was more of a possibility of it with a massive, massive storm. We're talking Saturday night was really bad storm, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, things going crazy. So I went out shopping Saturday morning to take care of the shopping things that we were supposed to do. My wife had a few things I needed to pick up at various places. I had to get actually the person whose birthday it was on January 13th. Friday the 13th, I had to get their birthday present and deliver their birthday present to them.
Nice.
So bunch of things going on. I do that. I believe I mentioned here on the podcast that over Christmas I went to Target and picked up something at Target's Pickup. And the guy that was, you order it online and then you pick it up in the store. And the guy that was working the pickup desk before Christmas was wearing an ugly Christmas sweater that was Star Wars related. And his name tag said George Lucas. And I thought I comment, that's a good name. He's like, no, that's actually my real name. That's my first name and middle name. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious? He goes, yeah, that's my first name and middle name. I'm like, shit, that's fucking cool. And he goes, yeah, my dad had no idea when he did it. I'm like, seriously?
Wow.
No, I had no idea.
That's awesome.
He's also a member of the 501st, which I'm like, yes, you should be a member of the 501st. That's important. You know the 501st.
No.
The 501st Stormtrooper Battalion.
Oh my god!
Wow! It's a volunteer. It's a volunteer charity organization.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
People make their own Stormtrooper armor, and they were actually some of them were actually in the last episode of the first season of The Mandalorian, because the Mandalorian production could not find enough Stormtrooper armor, so they called up the 501st and just had the 501st come and be in the last episode where there's supposed to be a bunch of Stormtroopers attacking the the building that the Mandalorian is hiding out in with other people. The 501st came in and actually were in that.
That's amazing. I love it.
Oh, that's fucking cool as hell.
Yes.
But yeah, he's a member of the 501st, and I was like, you need to be. Well, he was there last Saturday, and I'm like, hey George, I remember you. He's like, oh, thanks. That was about the end of the interaction. But I got my stuff. Delivered the presents. Right. I'm going to, and I'm headed over to Joann's Fabrics to grab something for I think my wife had purchased a fabric for a specific purpose, which is a funny thing considering what happened the week after when she decided to purge a good majority of the fabric that she's had sitting around the house. Part of that is because she needed we were in kind of need of some space with all the new Christmas decorations that she has. 3 Christmas trees, people. 3 freaking Christmas trees. So and she's new year, kind of a new mindset philosophy, trying to clear out the clutter in her life. I hope that doesn't include me, but we'll see what happens. So it might include one of the children. I'm not sure which one. I hopefully I get to put my voice in there if we're going to clear out that clutter. But anyway,
right.
Seriously though, I love my children, but moving on. She's having me pick up some stuff from Joann's, and she's again ordered it ahead of time. I just go in and pick it up. And when I'd initially gone into town and I say gone into town because we do live a good 7-8 miles outside of any real town, so it is a going into town situation. I wasn't really the one who was supposed to be going in and doing the shopping for the day. My wife was supposed to do it, but by that time, with everything that had been happening, all the weather, all the storms, the kids back in school for the first week, she was about done with the week. She was done. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll go in, I'll do the shopping. I didn't eat breakfast that morning because I had been waiting to see what was going to happen. And so I was going to try to stop and grab breakfast somewhere. But by the time I actually pulled into town, it was about 10:24. And for those of you who know, most of the fast food places and whatnot, which is where I was going to get food from, they usually stop serving breakfast at about 10:30. Some serve it all day, but about 10:30 is the cutoff. And so if you get in the drive-through at 10:24, by the time you get up to the speaker, it's probably going to be 10:30. But even then, at 10:24, it's still rude as fuck to order the breakfast food, because they're getting ready to stop doing breakfast food. It's kind of, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying think about, you might be being a little bit rude. So I was like, I'm not going to get any of the breakfast food I wanted. Great, wonderful. Go about doing my things. Like I said, I'm going into Joann's Fabrics. And I noticed I'm going into Joann's Fabrics. And for you, do you remember where the Rayleigh's was?
I'm trying to think of where that was.
You remember where the Wendy's was on the corner of the freeway?
Yes.
Okay, the parking lot behind that would have been Rayleigh's.
Oh, yes. I remember. Wow.
Obviously, Toys R Us isn't there anymore. It's a DD's discount now.
Oh, okay. I get it.
But that's where the Rayleigh's was, right?
Yes.
Bel Air was by our old work.
Yes.
This is where Rayleigh's was.
I know where you're. I'm reoriented now. Thank you. Yeah, I understand. Mm-hmm.
So right next to Rayleigh's in the corner now is where Joann's Fabrics is now. It used to be like over by the other Blockbuster, but it's not there anymore.
Right. Right. Yes.
It's over by Rayleigh's.
Yes.
What also used to be over there is that's where oh God, what's the pizza place? Damn, Rico's. That's where Rico's Pizza used to be, was in that corner too. Which, by the way, Rico's finally completely closed.
It's gone?
Just like 6 months ago. It's gone for good. I mean, it hasn't been there for a while.
Or Rico's the entire franchise?
Well, any Rico's in the Yuba City area. It had moved from that location to another location on Garden Highway for many years, but over the summer it closed the Garden Highway location for good. Dude,
I just Googled it. It is listed as temporarily closed. The Yuba City location specifically.
Yep.
Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah. Sad day for people who want gigantic fucking pizza. But multiple things have gone in and out of that little building there. It'd been a what's the sandwich place that I know Subway now toasts their sandwich, but there was another place that always Quiznos.
Yeah.
Quiznos was the place. Mm-hmm. There was a Quiznos in there. Mm-hmm. There was a Dylan's Pizza in there. There's been a bunch of stuff in that building right next to the Joann's Fabrics. And Joann's where Joann's is where there used to be a Goodwill store in that Joann's spot in that corner there by Rayleigh's. So I go into the Joann's, I go in through the line and get the stuff, because I'm not going to try to shop in Joann's because I don't know what the heck I'm looking for, because I don't know anything about sewing and crafting and all that. But as I'm getting ready to go in there, actually, before I go in the store, I see that there's a new taco place there. It's called Taco Twist.
Okay.
Which is like, okay. And it's advertising street tacos. And I'm like, ooh, street tacos.
I'm listening. Yeah. Okay. I get it.
I'm thinking, okay, my wife doesn't necessarily like to go to some weird taco place and have street tacos. That's not her thing. That's not, I'm not going to convince her easily to go somewhere like that. I'm on my own here. I was told I can go get food. I'm hungry. I haven't had breakfast yet. Street tacos. So I go in Joann's. I get the stuff I need to. I take it back out to the car, get a wallet out from the car. Mm-hmm. I didn't take it into Joann's because why? I'm not buying anything.
Right.
Get the wallet out from the car, go to this street taco place. And what was great about this is I want to set the context for this. This was on Saturday morning. Mm-hmm. We were planning on having the podcast Sunday morning. 10 o'clock, we were going to do the podcast. Me, just like we're doing today.
Yes.
Right? You and me were just going to sit here. We was going to do podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened from this moment for the next half hour or so was what I've come to call a podcast moment for me.
Okay.
Because I have these moments that happen in life that something happens. Sometimes they're small moments. Sometimes it's just a conversation between me and my wife. And she's gotten to the point where like, we'll have this little conversation, little back and forth. And she'll look at me and go, that's going on the podcast, isn't it? And I'm like, yes, it's totally going on there. It's a podcast moment. It's those things that happen in life that you're like, oh yeah, this is perfect. We have to bring this on the podcast. This is the story.
Okay.
To be on the podcast. This is something fun.
All right.
This moment unfolded before me. I walk to the door of this place. And again, it says, Taco Twist, street tacos. And I see something a little funny. You know those, you see them in movies. They're the taxis that are like basically a 3-wheeler with like a weird cab thing built over it for the taxi. And like 2 people could sit in the back and then somebody's driving almost like a 3-wheeler.
Okay.
But it's not really a 3-wheeler.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Half of one of those is part of the display in the front of the store. Like it was cut in half and the front half is there, but that's what it is. I mean, it's identifiable as that's what it is. And I'm like, that's a weird thing to be in a taco place, but street tacos, I guess they're street vibe, but I don't associate that type of a taxi thing with Mexico and tacos.
Right.
I associate that with like Asia. Why would you have something from Asia in there?
Okay.
So I walk in and I get to the counter and I find out why they have something from Asia in there.
And that is?
I find out what the twist is.
What's the twist?
It's funny every time I say it because I've told this story a few times because it's been a week. The twist is they're Indian tacos.
Shut up.
Let me clarify.
You need to clarify for everybody else because I know what that means to you.
Not Native American tacos, i.e. tacos on Indian fry bread or Native American fry bread, which is what I know of Indian tacos from, again, it's an improper.
It's totally improper, but I've known of you using that terminology for a long time. It is not like completely I completely understand where you're going. It's something I know of you and your family for a while now.
It's actually, hold on, it's not my family actually. Let's be clear about it. My family did not have the culinary wherewithal to have. I mean, again, tacos in my family were corn tortillas fried or the crunchy taco shells that you could buy with ground beef that only had like garlic, salt, and pepper maybe in it for seasoning, and cheese and ketchup. That's tacos from my family. Okay.
Okay.
What we refer to as Indian tacos came actually from Sarah's family and Sarah's extended family that actually have some Native American roots.
Okay.
Specifically Sarah's first husband's family that had some Native American roots, but even Sarah's family had, and I said her name so many times this time, it's awesome. That would be my wife. Haha. That's
I was going to say, I'm
stuff.
not going through all that in editing.
No, you're not. That was her family's thing, which is to make what they would call an Indian fry bread or a Native American fry bread. And by the way, I've seen like on food shows, the guy that kind of looks like me with the bleach blonde hair that's spiky and whatnot. He's gone to a place that actually serves Native American fry bread tacos and shows this is true part of Native American cuisine, the fry bread tacos.
Mm-hmm.
That it's not that kind of Indian tacos. This is actual.
That's not okay. I've got to. I understand the. How do I say this? The cultural misassociation of the name, as you continue to say it, knowing that you shouldn't. It's getting at me.
No, I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I'm trying to show that yes, this is what I was taught was Indian tacos. This is what is still talked about. Even people talk about Native American fry bread as Indian fry bread for Indian tacos. That's not what this is. This is actual.
Yeah,
Indian
you're talking
tacos
from India. Yeah,
this is real Indian tacos, like they're serving it on naan bread as your taco shell, basically.
Okay.
Freaking naan bread. And your meat options are seasoned chicken or Greek lamb.
That's fantastic.
I'm looking at this and I'm going, this was not the twist that I was expecting for tacos. And they have one guy behind the counter. He's kind of smiling and like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm okay. I'm looking at the menu. Another guy comes out from the back and he goes, hey, how can I help you? And I'm just looking at the menu like, this is not what I expected. I'm coming in here just getting some regular street tacos, and this is not the street tacos I was. Okay, I've got to figure this one out. And really nice guy.
Yeah.
He's like, this your first time here, right? I'm like, I can tell. I said to him, you can tell by my face it's my first time here. And I can tell by your face that you can tell by my face it's the first time here. And he's like,
I know
what can I get you? He's like, what can I get you? And I'm like, I don't know. I was coming in here not knowing what to expect, and I really didn't know what to expect on this. I guess some of the street tacos on naan bread. Well, yeah, okay, sure. What meat do you want? I'm like, it's been about 20 years since I've had lamb of any kind. Let's go with the Greek lamb. Oh, I love the lamb. The lamb's great. Okay. Start putting this together. Got some lamb on there. Got some a couple different veggies on there. He's like, what about the sauces? I'm like, what do you mean with sauces? I got a list of like 6 different sauces. I'm like, Okay, none of them the type of stuff I'm used to putting on tacos. Now let me preface this. I've lived in an area, the Yuba City area, for over 20 years, well over 20 years. Yuba City is very well known for its large Indian population,
right?
Indian and Pakistani population,
right?
They have the second largest Sikh temple in the world, in Yuba City. So
yes.
Very big population there. A lot of good Indian restaurants. I have never been to one. I've never been really around people who are big fans of Indian food. So I've never experienced it. The only real experience I had with even something close to resembling Indian food was my mother-in-law at one point making curry chicken, and it burned in every phase of consuming and excreting. It was the most terrible and awful meal that I think I've ever had in my entire life, and it caused me physical pain for like 2 days.
Wow.
Like the whole trip into and through my body caused me physical pain and then lingering pain afterwards. It was awful. To this day, the smell of curry is one of those things very similar to the smell of teriyaki and the smell of avocados that just kind of sets me on edge. I can't stand the smell of those things.
I'm sorry.
Bad experiences with all of them. So I've haven't had much in the way of experience with Indian cuisine. So they're listing me these different sauces, and I'm like, I'm going all in on this. What do you recommend? And they end up with 2 different sauces that they put on it: tikka masala sauce, and then a trying to think of the name of the other one. I don't remember. I'll remember later. It'll just flash me. But they put 2 sauces on there. I get some veggies on there. They ask if I want to put cheese on it, and I'm like, on a lamb taco with naan bread with all these. No, cheese is not an appropriate option for this. That's not right for this type of a taco.
I mean, it is a taco, though. Technically speaking, there are no real rules here because they're the intermingling of.
Here's the thing. I got Greek lamb on there. If I got some feta cheese or something like that, it makes sense. I'm not wanting to, besides the fact the veggies are giving me, some fresh veggie flavor and some crunch, but I'm wanting to really, I'm having a moment where I can either be like the people who, while I was having my food made, looked into the building, shook their head and walked away. Or I could be the person that's like, you know what? This wasn't what I was expecting. I was thinking your standard street tacos that, us dumb Americans expect of what a taco could be. This is not my taco expectation, but I'm going with this. I'm trusting these guys. I'm going on the best adventure I can have, food adventure, as the dumb, stupid American. And that's, cheese felt to me like that's the dumb American thing to do. We're not doing the dumb American thing here. They did have some crunchy noodle things that they put on there. Fantastic.
Ooh.
Build up these tacos. But then he asks me if I want salsa on the taco, and I'm like, no, again, that's not the type of taco I'm having here, man. So as we're finishing up the tacos, like, you want some seasoned fries to go with it, make it a full meal? I'm like fries, actual fries? Yeah, some seasoned fries. I'm like, screw it, why not? We'll try some seasoned fries. We'll do this.
Okay, so now you've got something else to try here. This is another layer. I'm feeling this. Please continue.
And so, we finish up. The fries cook fairly quickly. Interesting to note, they didn't have a soda machine. What you call
like a fountain, like a soda fountain.
Yeah, no fountain drinks here. No fountain drinks here.
Okay.
This was
so it's all like in a fridge
soda
behind the counter, like a Chipotle.
No, the fridge is up front, man.
Ooh. Oh, so you just reach in, grab something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's cool.
And so, I get this, and I head over to Sam's Club. I head over to the Sam's Club parking lot because that's where I'm going to be getting the next thing. I'm going into Sam's Club and doing some stuff. Now I'm sending you a picture. Don't look at it yet, okay?
Okay.
I was not smart enough and forthright enough to take a picture of the tacos because I'm smelling this. It's sitting in the front seat next to me, right?
Okay,
and I'm smelling this the whole way there, and I'm like, God, this smells good. I can smell the seasoned fries. They gave me, by the way, a giant brown paper bag to have them in, right? It's like I can smell the seasoned fries.
Bro, they're going like old school McDonald's 1984 on this shit too. The big old styrofoam container. Or is that styrofoam or is that plastic?
I told you not to look at the picture yet.
Oh. I missed that detail. I'm sorry. You sent me a picture.
Anyway, I'm smelling the tacos as well. So I pull the tacos out and they look good. They smell good. I'm like, all right, man, we're all in. We're all in on this. We're going to try this. This is, you know, for the first even halfway close to Indian food experience that I've ever had in my life. Because again, over the last 20 years, I've tried to broaden my horizons when it comes to food and not be picky James that I used to be that was a pain in the ass. This is, you know, and it's in incremental steps. Sometimes it's in giant leaps. Let me tell you something right now. Those were some of the best just tacos in general, hands down, I've ever had in my entire life. The naan bread was perfect. The lamb was good. Tons of flavor. Not super juicy, but not dry either, especially because it was kind of thin cut. And not too much chew to it. Like sometimes you get lamb that's a little chewy. It was perfect. Everything, the sauces were great. Everything was beautiful and balanced perfectly. It was so good. I could not stop eating the 2 tacos. I just kept going the whole time. Didn't even have time to take a picture of the damn tacos. They were so good. Then I pop open this thing of fries, and that is one of those recycled cardboard style containers. It
gotcha.
Is not styrofoam.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now, you've only been in my car once or twice.
Uh-huh.
But that is literally, that's sitting on the center console of my car between the 2 seats. That's how big a portion of fries they gave me.
Freaking large, dude. Full meal. The fries are a full meal on their own. 1.5 at least.
I didn't even eat all the fries, man.
You couldn't finish the fries.
They were the best seasoned fries I have ever had from any restaurant.
Wow.
Hands down.
Really?
I finished all that up and I was like, oh my God, this place is fucking amazing. I need to tell everybody. And that's when it was like, this is a podcast moment. I went into this place with one expectation. Everything flipped around. And I said, instead of doing like I might have done in the past and just walking out, I'm like, no, I'm giving this a go. This looks like it could still be good. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to try anything because it's different. Wasn't different enough, but it was just different enough.
I dig it. I dig it. That's great, man.
It was fantastic. A whole different, and they name it right. It is a whole different twist on tacos. Mm-hmm. That is gives you a taco, but a whole different version of it. And it was amazing. And those fries, man, I challenge anybody that has any love of fries to not love these fries. Unless you completely hate seasoned fries, these are, nobody's ever served me better seasoned fries ever. I would eat these fries. Remember when we had our first episode of the podcast? We had the fry discussion.
Yeah.
This place was not in that discussion because I'm sure this place didn't exist 3 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
When we started this thing.
Yeah.
I would put this at the top of the list at this point.
Holy shit. See, this thing has beaten out every other of your favorite fry place ever.
So,
is that correct?
I would say that at this point, yes.
That's fantastic.
I want these fries more than I want fries from any other place. See, what part of my plan was, we were going to have this. We're on Sunday here. We're on Sunday here. When I ate this, I was like, I'm going to talk about this on the podcast. And the podcast didn't happen on Sunday morning for a reason that Mike will detail later after this.
Yeah.
I'm working the timeline here.
I get it.
All I could think was, oh my God, I'm going to talk about this on the podcast. Oh my God, I'm going to talk about this on the podcast. And I had like half the thing of fries left. And I was like, oh, you know what? I've learned recently the beauties of the reheat function on an air fryer. And the fact that you can reheat foods on an air fryer sometimes or in an air fryer. that don't reheat properly any other way. Like I've actually made French fries from multiple fast food places. I have reheated them in the air fryer. And now, like previous to this, there's only one fast food place that I felt comfortable reheating French fries from, and it was a specific fry, the curly fries from Jack in the Box. You can reheat those in the oven and they still taste okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, any fry from anywhere else, no. You don't reheat them. You don't reheat them. That's why you eat the fries first. You eat the other stuff second, or you eat your other stuff and then whatever you don't eat of the fries, throw them out. You don't reheat fries. Interestingly, Long John Silver's. I have old people living in the house, so Long John Silver's does happen occasionally.
Dude, I love Long John Silver's. What are you talking about? Long John Silver's is great.
Their fries are pretty good to reheat. The key that I found to reheating French fries is air fryer. Works also really well on McDonald's chicken nuggets. McDonald's chicken nuggets reheated in the air fryer. Oh my god,
dude! You know, one of my favorite things to have in the air fryer, to heat in the air fryer, pizza. Like
pizza is the best in the air fryer.
I haven't found a pizza that I don't like reheating in the air fryer.
Sometimes it's better. And for those of you who eat your pizza cold, I don't know what's wrong with you people. Somebody didn't love you enough when you were little.
You know what? I made the mistake of doing that until I discovered that you could reheat it in the air fryer. Because here's the thing: like you've either got reheating in the full size oven, which is a lot. It's just a lot to do. And
it's a lot, but it's the only way I used to reheat pizza.
I used to do that too. I used to do that with like the half pizza that was left. Like with me, what I normally would do, like if it's me and like one other person, we order a pizza, we eat about half the pizza, we have another half for the next day. Dude, that's lunch or hell, I've done pizza for breakfast before. It's great. But you take that other half of the pizza, you throw it in the oven on a sheet. And just let it do its thing for like 10 minutes. It's like 325. It's great.
Yeah, back earlier in the year or whatever, when my wife was going through the last 2 years, when my wife was going through her every weekend having to have build your own pizza phase. Mm-hmm. You know, from the various build your own pizza places that are around. We'd get pizza there. We eat half the pizza that night, save the other half, and then the next day for lunch, we'd put the two halves of pizza on a sheet pan into the oven and heat our heat up our halves of pizza.
Oh yeah,
and we'd have pizza for the next day for lunch. That was the whole plan of it. Was we got 2 meals worth of pizza out of it because we didn't just sit and eat the whole pizza in one day. I mean, I could, but I tried not to.
Right.
But that's pizza in the oven. That was the way to do it. People that do the pizza in the microwave, you people are just lazy and don't understand that good food sometimes takes time, and you need to accept that good food takes time. Or
you can eat it cold like a heathen.
Yeah, and the whole skillet reheat, not a bad idea, but a little bit more touchy than doing the oven. Quicker time, but whatever. Air fryer, total game changer on this.
Yeah.
So I had half these fries left over, and I'm like, you know what? These are great, but the final test will be
air fryer.
The final test will be putting them in the air fryer and reheating them in the air fryer. By the way, I want to add there is one other thing that I did reheat in the oven at one point. Actually, no, I did. Did I? Yes, I did reheat it in the oven. There is one other thing I did reheat in the oven at one point because I had extra of. I bought 2 of them, two of these one day, ate one, saved the next one for the next morning for breakfast, reheated it in the oven, and put an egg on it. And that was a hamburger from Five Guys. I made sure there was no toppings on it. It was just bun and patty. Reheated that thing in the oven. Put an egg on top of that for my breakfast. It was still good because that's how good Five Guys burgers are. Well, guess what, sir? I saved these fries for the next day. I made these fries I actually made them for to go with my breakfast the next day. I made interestingly enough, I made a sausage and egg sandwich.
Nice.
To have. So basically kind of like a burger with an egg on it.
Nice.
I made that for part of my breakfast, and the other part I reheated the seasoned fries. They were, I would say, not as good as the first day, but like just a hair under not as good, so they were still fucking amazing. So this is my new favorite place, and my plan was this week I was going out shopping on Saturday morning again because we couldn't go. Last week we didn't go do anything because we knew there'd be a big storm Saturday night, and we didn't want to be out with the big storm. This week, there was something else happening on Saturday. That something else being, of course, the 49ers' first playoff game because they're in the playoffs. And they had the game yesterday. I'll mention that one in a second. They I was going to go out and get stuff, do some shopping and get stuff beforehand because we couldn't go out because the game is on. And I'm sorry, but I love my wife and she knows I do. And the date nights are important and she knows they are. But she knows that during football season, that's the only time that something else is kind of that level of important to me. And she understands and appreciates that. And I appreciate that she does as well. She doesn't make me choose between. She understands that it's important to me. And I again, that's very appreciative. She's giving in that way. So I went out and did the shopping, and because of household situations, my shopping was cut short. So I was only able to go to Walmart and get the stuff I needed at Walmart and come home. I was not able to make the trip into Yuba City to help my wife get her a pizza that she hasn't had in a long time. It's been weeks since she's been able to have one of the build your own pizzas from one of those places. And of course, that build your own pizza place is right across the road, basically, from my new favorite taco place. So I was like, I'm going to get tacos again. I'll get her pizza. I'm getting me these tacos again. And I didn't get to get them yesterday. So there was a little sadness and frustration, but I'm telling you, I've only seen that there are a few in the North State area, the Northern California area. There's one in Yuba City, and apparently there's one in Roseville. If you get an opportunity,
okay,
yeah. If you get an opportunity, check out Taco Twist because I'm telling you, good food, very good food. Not what I was expecting. Very interested in it. We'll go back again. Those fries are just flipping amazing.
This sounds great, man. This sounds absolutely great.
So, and again, it was a moment where I was like, this is a podcast story. This is something this is a food find and the idea of you go in with one expectation, the things are a little different than you expect, but that's okay. Ride with it and give it a try. You never know what you're going to find. And like I said, I wasn't that person that looked in the window and was like, oh no, I ain't going in that place. I went in, I tried it, and it was fantastic. I'm so glad I did because it was great experience. But yes, it definitely does give a whole new meaning and understanding to the term Indian tacos. Because that what I had last Saturday, that was Indian tacos, and it was amazing. And I will have those Indian tacos again. Now, whenever my wife decides to make Native American fried bread tacos, I'll make sure to invite you because I know you like them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love those things.
They're amazing.
Yes, they are. I will give full credit. Those things are amazing. But anyway, which is what James. Did he? Are you good?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. your butt anyway is I was following up on it, but yeah.
But what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take a little break.
I like it. I need to get more coffee anyway.
Let Mike get some coffee, and then I just talked about what happened Saturday morning, and I got home Saturday morning, and I got home from having my tacos, got all the things. It was a very happy day. Got home, got settled in for the night, as did Mike, and then stuff happened later in the night.
Not just that, wait.
Saturday night. Stuff happened.
Yesterday or last Saturday?
Last Saturday.
Okay.
Last Saturday night, stuff happened. Because after I got my tacos, after I come home from getting my tacos, we settled in for the night to just be at home and do whatever. Mike settled in for the night to be at home and do whatever, try to ride out this storm, and then stuff happened.
Yes. Okay. I didn't know if it was you were continuing with another story or this is my story time, right?
It will be. So we're going to take a break.
Okay.
And when we come back, Mike's story time.
Yes. All right.
Hey friends, this is Mike from the Xennial Chronicles reminding you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Xenchron, spelled Xenchron, to keep up to date on all things TXC. And please check out our official website, theXennialChronicles.com, or if that's too much to type, Xenchron.com. Thanks again for listening, and now, back to the show.
And we are back.
Oh, okay.
That was weird.
I am my coffee is doing its job, thank God.
Yeah, I only had like a half a cup of coffee when I came up here, and I drank that fairly quickly. So I went and grabbed a new beverage that I found at the store the other day. Dr. Pepper, strawberries, and cream.
Really, dude? How do you find this stuff? Like, I found we found a sugar-free Dr. Pepper cream soda that we both dig on. Which normally
I just drank the last one of those the other day.
Yeah, Tasha is not very big on most sugar-free drinks. I kind of grew up on them, so I have them all the time. But she found a sugar-free Dr. Pepper cream soda. She's all over. So that's pretty good. I will say
this much.
But strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper sounds fantastic.
It's very good. It is only in the full sugar variety at this point. But I will say this: the newer zero sugar sodas, being somewhat of a soda connoisseur, the newer zero sugar sodas, I'm not going to lie and say that they are as good as the full sugar soda, because they're not. There is a difference in the flavor. But they do taste better than most of the sodas that are labeled diet soda.
Yeah.
The zero sugar does taste better than those. It's still not the same as drinking a full sugar soda. That is a completely different experience. And for people who only like that experience, the zero sugar still may fail you. But
okay,
as a diabetic person who tries to limit the amount of sugar that I intake in my diet, so what sodas I do typically drink are zero sugar sodas. The zero sugar ones are better flavor than the diet ones. And I almost exclusively drink those now because diet sodas taste kind of garbagey in comparison to the zero sugar. They are better flavor.
Fair.
But I can also see where they do still lack a little bit and have a little aftertaste for people that are accustomed to only drinking full sugar soda. There'll be people that'll say, "Oh no, the zero sugar tastes just as good as the regular soda." No, it doesn't. It does not taste just as good. However, it does taste better than diet, and so it's really about what your personal acceptable limits are as far as flavor is concerned.
Yeah.
For me, the upside of the zero sugar is I don't have to worry about my blood sugar. So they taste good enough for me to be happy about my blood sugar. They taste good enough that I can cut sugar out there and maybe have a piece of candy later in the day as my sugar. And the candy is going to be far more enjoyable as my sugar than what the full suger soda would have been in comparison to the zero sugar soda. So, you make your choices where you make them. But anyway. Yeah, I had to go down and I had to deal with some household stuff, and then I had to go down and grab me a little something more to drink with still some more caffeine in it.
Beautiful.
Hopefully. I don't know if the strawberries and cream one does have caffeine in it, but whatever. It still tastes really freaking good. But right before the break, which was a little bit of time for us, but not very much time for you listening. I had finished off what was happening to me on Saturday. My wonderful taco experience with a twist. Amazing French fries, and coming home to weather the storm, and talking about Mike and his wife being at home to weather the storm. And then the storm happened, and that's where Mike gets to pick up his tale. It's in the nighttime, the storm is raging, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
Yep.
And noises all over the place on my back patio, stuff getting knocked down all over the place. I'm assuming there was some stuff getting knocked down on your back patio too, right?
Well, there was, but before we do this, because I think it's kind of like, I'm going to take you a little bit farther back into the past, okay?
Okay.
Take it back to the past. All right, so the...
Do I need to make noises for that? Like...
No, that's fine. So...
I did already, though.
But yes, you did. Thank you, I guess. So... So... Starting with this whole story, we're going to go all the way back. I believe I talked about this the day after, because we cut our first episode of this year on New Year's Day, right? So I talked about the first time that we had a bit of a scare having to do with the weather, with the power going out and all that kind of stuff. I was talking about the line knocking in two with the tree and PG&E coming out and fixing it in like a half hour.
Yeah, sparking and all that stuff.
Yep. And it was that exact amount of scare was going on. So essentially, for like that entire week, to anybody that's not in California, that's not in Northern California, because I got a hold of some friends that are down in SoCal, and they're like, yeah, we're just getting rain. And I'm like, fuck you guys. We're getting, like, obliterated up here. Floods and, like, nasty high winds. Like, it's not quite hurricane level, because hurricane level is like super nuts, like 110 miles an hour winds and stuff. And we're getting like 50, 60 mile an hour winds up here. So in between one of the breaks, we knew that we had to hurry and go grab some groceries before the next major storm came in. So while we are out on the way, and this is Friday of last week. We're out on the way out. Tash and I are in a car. I forgot something back in the house, because I always forget something back in the house. It's either my glasses or my keys or my wallet or some bullshit. And so I went back into the house. Well, I hurried to go back in the house because I was like, we don't got a lot of time. Well, I didn't realize where my feet were, and I slipped in the mud. But when I slipped in the mud, I twisted the living piss out of my left ankle. Like, I felt like almost all the weight go down on it, and I felt my whole body just fall forward. I hit my face on the ground. I banged up my knees. My arms didn't do, like, it was pretty heavy force in that mud slippage. So I felt the shock. I'm like, oh no, what's going on? What did I do to my leg? Can I stand on it? No, I can't. Okay, I'm just going to be on my hands and knees for a minute. Honey! And I just screamed at her, and she helped me back up, and we went back inside. So we chilled for like an hour to try to figure out what was going on with my foot. I didn't know whether or not we wanted to go to urgent care. I wanted to wait it out, because we're looking at this like 6 to 7 o'clock at night. Like, most of those places aren't even open, or if they are, it's a stupid amount of money. Like, there's just a lot going down. So, as far as that's concerned, we wrap up my ankle, we put it on ice, and it is not good. And we wait for about an hour or so, and we still need to do our grocery shopping. And she is not feeling right leaving me alone at the house, because I was just freshly injured. So I'm like, okay, well, let's see if we can get me out there. Maybe. And I go and I hang out basically we put me in the car. I go and I hang out in the back seat. And to give you an idea of how much the universe is just hating me at this point, either hating me or just laughing in my face as I have done this to myself in the middle of all of this disaster, because I didn't watch where I was going. She put me in the back seat of the car, and we turn on the car, and we start it up. And the song is playing on the radio is, no shit, Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. That just happens to be playing. This was absolutely, like, the two of us.
That seems appropriate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The two of us had the biggest laugh. I screamed, fuck you, at the radio. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic time. And to be fair, I am still injured. I'm still watching, like, we are still watching my foot. I got my hands on a pair of crutches, like, so that I'm off my foot as much as possible. I'm in a brace. I've been in a brace for a week. It does not feel like a break. I know what a hairline fracture feels like. I know what a break feels like to a certain degree. Not like an entire, like, the bone snapped in two or anything like that. But I have dealt with twisted ankles my whole life. I've dealt with sprains my whole life, dislocations. I know what these feel like. This feels like a sprain, so I'm just keeping it off it as much as I can, and that's pretty much it. However, so we continue our story to the next night. And now we get to what James was talking about. The next storm kicks in. The next, wave of this atmospheric river, apparently, is what it's called, that's coming in from the coast. And the catch with atmospheric rivers is they work similarly to hurricanes on a much milder level. Whereas hurricanes or big rain storms are actual, like, the makeup of a rainstorm is water, as opposed to an atmospheric river, which is kind of like a mixture of heat and cold at the same time that does it's the same pressure increase and pressure drop that creates, like, tornadoes and hurricanes. It's hot meets with cold, except with an atmospheric river, it is more of a vapor-based than it is water-based. So, like, a hurricane is, like, super nasty, whereas what happens with atmospheric rivers, and this is the reason why I'm getting to it, is it's milder, but it can still do some damage. So here, Tash and I are sitting on the couch on Saturday night, just chilling out. doing the best we can to hunker down, expecting the power to go out at any point in time. And we're just watching TV because that's the most we could do. We got our phones charged. We've got, if in case something goes down, we've got like our go bag ready to go. Like, who knows what's going to happen because we're next to a creek. The creek could flood. We're on a decent amount of elevation, but our house is kind of on a hill. So the water would kind of flow past it. It wouldn't quite knock into it as much as it would just go straight around it. But our house is on a hill, and the hill on the back of the backyard is higher than, the ground of the house.
I'm on a floodplain, so.
You're on a floodplain? Dude, that sucks. I'm sorry. We actually, even yesterday, we saw some serious issue. We're finding out the parts of the house at ground level that are not quite sealed. We have a leak coming into our back door from the door frame. Yeah. So it's not good.
No, we developed a leak too, but no, our whole housing development is on floodplain, reclaimed land from floodplain for a river. The river is about a mile away from us, and luckily though, that river system, because of where these storms have been going through, they haven't gone up north enough to affect the one part of our river system. Because the reservoir, the Oroville, Lake Oroville, which is the reservoir that would hold the water that would affect one of the two rivers that run near us, is so low at this point that it's got tons of time till it gets to capacity. But the storms haven't been as bad that far up north. And then to the east, in the mountains where the other river comes from,
yeah.
It's high up enough where they have the main sources for those rivers is still snow, so we don't got to worry about it till the snow starts melting in the spring. Otherwise, we're fine. Our river levels are great. But you're worried. You had flooding in your street. You have. You are still in a fairly low lying area.
Yeah.
So there's concerns, but
this was
not the problem.
No, this was something that we absolutely did not expect. Now, one of the things we did, and I will actually talk about that. Thank you for mentioning it. That is a detail that has to do with this story. So with the massive sheets of rain that came through, I was seeing huge amounts of flooding on the street right in front of our house, like fully submerged. Well, not fully submerged, but pretty freaking submerged, like trucks. So we expected a lot of rain to come in because of all the warnings, and we heeded those warnings, I would say, properly. Normally, what I like to do is I have a small Honda, like a Civic, and it rides kind of low. So I knew that the rain was probably going to flood the street because of the curvature of the street in front of my house. So I moved that car up to the driveway. And the driveway is really steep, so it's kind of bad for like oil and all that kind of stuff. Any fluid that sits in it, like. Most people normally wouldn't park their car on an incline. They would park it on a flat part of the street. Like, that's the general rule set, okay? We parked the car on the driveway, and we parked and we already have we have a second car, an SUV that we park on the driveway all the time. So we were pretty good. Now, when we looked outside at one point, the first major day of rain, the day that I twisted my ankle, the street had flooded up, hitting up to about where our driveway, the bottom of our driveway hit. So we just had this huge, we had like a moat in front of our house for like 5 or 6 hours. And then it finally dried out enough for us to go get groceries. And that's when the ankle twist happened. Now, this is pertinent to the story because, well, this next night, this Saturday night, Tash and I are sitting on the couch watching TV. And we hear the gust of wind now this is a southern wind. Our house faces north. Our back porch faces south. So this is a southern wind coming at us. And it's slamming into the doors. Like, we have French doors in our living room on one side. And so when we're sitting in the living room, we've got our TV on one wall. And those French doors are to our right. So we're facing the TV. The French doors are to the right. We got the curtains open. We have, we've got our pet chickens. They're all put away. Everybody's as safe as they could possibly be. Dogs are huddled up on the couch, all nervous and anxious. And we're hearing wind slam into the house, like knock into the door, pushing the door in. So you've got the door partially barricaded and all this kind of stuff. And then what happens is, I shit you not, we're sitting there, and the two of us see out of the corner of our eye the aluminum awning that we have hanging over our backyard. So we have an aluminum awning that was attached directly to the house. It was basically used as like a drainage roll off, but it was also a dry covering over the back of the backyard. It was a whole canopy, like an aluminum canopy awning, a flat sheet of aluminum that was about 18 feet by 20 feet, about the length of the porch. And then the end of that aluminum awning has a wood frame where we got a couple of 4x4s, a couple of 4x4 wooden beams, and then a 6x4 that goes across the top. That's, that the aluminum is attached to. We see out of the corner of our eye, we hear a gust of wind, and we watch our aluminum awning get ripped straight off of the side of our house. Like, above the door, we hear a whoosh, we see the awning go up, straight up into the air, and I notice something that Tash doesn't. We hear the whoosh, we see it go straight up into the sky, and she goes, "It's gone. It's gone." Now, she didn't notice this, but I did. The awning was attached directly to the roof, so the screws attached to it should have worked as some sort of a hinge that would have slammed the awning onto the roof. That slamming sound didn't happen.
Yeah, it would have gone because the front end of it that was south, that was the far end of it, should have, with your, like you're saying, with the screws holding onto it.
Yeah.
It should have slammed it back and slammed it into the roof, but it did not slam it into the roof.
It did not. So she says, "It's gone." And I went, "Where did it go?" Because it's an 18 by 20 sheet of aluminum. It's huge. It could kill somebody. It could damage a serious amount of property. Did it shoot did it shoot onto the roof of the house on the front side? Like, did it hit our cars? Did it hit the cars next door? Did it shoot off into the cul-de-sac behind our house? Did it shoot into the neighbor's yard? Did it kill a dog? What happened? Who knows? Some people still leave their dogs outside in this bullshit. It's a terrible idea, but who knows, right?
Or is it still flying around in the air while Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton are driving around in a truck? Debris!
Yeah, exactly. We're watching Twister or fucking Wizard of Oz shit. Like, what the hell's happening here? And I'm like, I hear nothing.
Oh, hold on. Interesting side note. Just want to add this in.
Yeah.
During all this stormy stuff, this weekend and this previous weekend that that you're talking about right now, I have two kids in the household that have been almost exclusively watching Wizard of Oz, and specifically watching the storm scenes because the storms were frightening them so much. But anyway,
so they're watching the other storm. That's great. Okay, so
you said Wizard of Oz. It came in. It just was like, oh yeah, they've been watching that. But go on.
That's fantastic. So we heard nothing, and I'm like, so part of my brain hit an illogical point because I'm like, what's happened? Where is it? Where did it go? So I go, the cars, and I want to go. I go hobbling with my crutches towards the front door, and she's like, "Don't open the fucking front door, you idiot. Who knows what could be going flying around out there? This thing just came out." And I'm like, that's kind of, yeah, you got a point. So, so the both of us shoot over to our master bedroom, and we have a wall that faces towards the front of the house. So we can see out the front of the house from the master bedroom from the window. So we shoot out over there, and we look, and the entire awning, save for one aluminum sheet, which is probably, it's like, that 18-foot long, but it's like an 18 by 1 or 2 foot piece, had broken off of it. But the aluminum, the whole thing is in two pieces. The vast majority of it is sitting on the street, halfway onto the street, halfway onto the neighbor's yard across the street, blocked by a tree. So it came down. It shot up directly over the roof of our house, both of our cars, our entire yard, and landed and slammed into the ground on the neighbor's yard across the street. There are normally cars parked in that spot, and there happened to not be. Miraculously.
Actually, when you sent me the picture, I looked at the picture, I'm like, oh, that's where I used to park.
Yep.
When I would come to do the podcast.
Yes.
My car would be parked there.
Yes, exactly. That is the place where most of like my guests will park in that part of the street because we have our car on the street. I'm heavily considering moving my cars to where people can park in the in front of the yard in front of my house.
Oh no, screw that.
Just
man.
to change that
it's
a
your
little
house.
bit.
Park where you want to.
So anyway, like we look and the wind stopped for a good little bit of time and it died down enough. Dude, as soon as we look out the window, the neighbor from across the street opens up the door to her house and she's like, "What the hell is this?" So then Tash shoots out the front door. I mean, I can't do anything. I've got one bum foot. I'm walking around in crutches. I can't get out the front. She shoots out the front door and screams, "That's ours! Sorry about that!" to the front, to the neighbor across the street. She's like, "Is everybody okay? Are you okay? Did your property get damaged or anything like that?" And, we're checking. Everybody was fine. Nobody got hurt. No major property damage happened. And it was it. That was all.
I mean, that's some property damage.
I mean, that is. The wind took our... Yeah. But, see, a piece of our house is not responsible for another piece of property getting damaged. You know what I mean?
Which is good.
The wind took it, but, what do you do? So... Now we know, it's okay. We're all right. So,
hold on a second. I just thought of something.
What? What's up?
I wonder what the legal language is behind things that are considered an act of God, and whether atheists can claim that in legal proceedings or not. Could you argue that atheists can't proclaim that something's an act of God if they don't believe in God?
Well,
little side note.
I was going to say, technically speaking, force majeure doesn't exactly mean act of God, when you look at the French terminology. So,
no,
but it's inexplicable acts of force.
Fuck
yeah,
the French.
Well, force majeure is the legal terminology used.
So, fuck the French, except for their toast. Their toast is good.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to have some after this podcast is over. So,
I had some this morning, bitch.
Well, fuck you. I'm going to have mine after. You said French toast 4 days ago, and I'm like, yeah!
Actually, it was supposed to be a French toast bake, which we had on Christmas morning. The wife was going to make a French toast bake.
Oh, wow.
You make it ahead of time overnight, sits in the fridge, and then you bake it. Basically, you cut up the French toast in small pieces, put it in a dish, then you put the egg mixture and stuff over it and around it and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then it sits and soaks all that up, and then you bake it, and then you eat it. And then, okay, we're taking a weird tack, but I got to ask.
Yeah.
When you're eating French toast, what is your topping on French toast?
I'm normally powdered sugar and syrup. I'm a powdered sugar and syrup guy. Huh?
You both it?
Yeah. You throw syrup on that bitch and then you throw powdered sugar on the syrup.
You're a fucking monster.
I'm a monster. Excuse me? Fuck you, lady.
It's only powdered sugar is the only right answer to put on French toast.
No, that is not correct. You ain't not, dude. I grew up with syrup on French toast.
No, syrup on French toast is wrong. That's why you have pancakes and waffles.
No, you can put syrup on fucking anything you want. I'll put syrup on ice cream if I feel like it. It might be chocolate, but that's regardless.
Anyway, so yeah, you lost your awning, dude.
Yeah, so we lose our awning. Yeah, back to the story. We lose our awning, and it is it's the crazy part is the fact it didn't hit anything, technically speaking, right? In the middle of we walk out afterwards. There's pieces of the rooftop because our roof had thank God, our roof had just been replaced as well. Because that would have dude, our roof was falling apart, and our roof got fully replaced at the beginning of last year. So we had this storm with a brand new roof, and it still took that awning off of it. And by the way, that awning was on a brand new piece of wood that had been put because there was dry rot over where that awning is, because that's where water gets retained, because that's where the awning is sealed to the back of the house. So we got lucky enough for this awning to get ripped right out. And we had to call the fire department to get them to move it, because as the wind started to kick up, it started moving the aluminum pieces back and forth in the wind, and it slid a little bit. And we're like, fuck that, we're calling the fire department. So we called the fire department, their non-emergency line, because we knew 911 was eaten up. There was no way. Yeah. So we called the non-emergency line. They were out there in 15 minutes, so they were able to go take care of it and stuff. We had firefighters move the aluminum pieces from the side from that front yard all the way to our front yard. So it's still resting there. We, you know, covered it with a couple of concrete bricks that we had, blocks, so that it's not moving. The thing ain't moving. So it's stuck there where it's at. It's not getting moved in the wind. It's low to the ground now, so that's not going to be a problem anymore. But that being said, it's just the amount of force that took that thing clean off, and miraculously it didn't hit another thing. We go out there the next morning, dude, and there's like pieces of wood and tile like over the top of our cars where it fell off of it. The extra piece of aluminum that broke off of that awning was also in the street. That one got moved out of the way. We were able to get that out of the way pretty quick. But dude, the entire piece weighed about as much as, you know, I would say weighed about as much as a third of a car. So, you know, they had 3-4 guys move it out of the way. The firefighters did. So they were able to get, it was a heavy piece of aluminum. But the fact that it was just able to get picked up in that wind and just whooshed right out and straight up over the top of the house. There was still like, you know, lining from where it was attached to the house sitting on the street the next day. It was absolutely nuts. And since then, you know, the day afterwards, what we had to do, and I had filmed the video of it after we had done it. So the wood support for the awning was still up, but it was leaning on my gas grill. And it was actually, we had tied a clothesline to it. So it was supported by a clothesline that was tied between it and like a shed partway down the yard. Because we had to save electricity during the summer, so we tied up a clothesline to dry our clothes. But this whole situation was just absolutely nuts. We had to shove over the wood support, so the next, you know, bout of winds that came in the next day didn't bring that piece of that wood framing. Who knows? That could have gotten picked up. Something else could have gotten picked up. We had no idea what was going on, so we had to like shove the wood over and then like cover it in bricks to make sure that it didn't get picked up in the next bout of wind. No other damage has happened, but with the amount of rain and wind and everything, we haven't even been able to get out there to clean up. Oh, yeah. We've had like half a day of sunshine, I think, yesterday, and that was it. It's been just constant rain and wind for the last 2 weeks since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, we have one compromised fence post in the back of our fence. Mm-hmm. Luckily, it's still holding the fence up enough. We just got to keep an eye on the dogs, and we have small dogs, so that's helpful. But yeah, our house is the back of the house is south facing, and the fence is south facing. There's no other homes behind us. We're at the edge of our kind of one of those, you know, housing tracks, and there's just an open field behind us. So yeah, we get the brunt of the wind in there. That's where one of the posts is compromised back there.
Yeah,
we've had crap knocked all over the place. It's insanity the amount of stuff that went on. And yeah, it was crazy to the point of, you know, again, we were gonna do our podcast Friday, and you know, you hurt your ankle.
Yep.
And there was the power issues and all the weather stuff going on with that.
Yep.
I'm going back through the pictures. I did find one other thing when I was out shopping on Saturday, not just my wonderful taco place, but my beautiful new set of fur Crocs.
Oh, really?
With the light up flower. Remember I sent you the picture? You thought they were slippers?
Those bastards look like Ugg boots with Crocs around them.
You're not entirely wrong, because they do have the fur up around the top of the Crocs. They don't have the strap on the back like the Crocs normally do.
Yeah.
They just have the fur lined and then this big, like 2-inch tuft of fur around the edge of it.
Right.
So yeah, they're the furry Crocs, and they have a light up little flower on them and a lava lamp. And I found a pair that was my size and a pair that was my wife's size, so we have matching Crocs. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
But okay, I'm looking back to this stuff and the discussions, and like on Friday night at like 9, almost 10 o'clock, I'm like it's a Saturday night at 10 o'clock. I'm like, podcast at 10, you know, for still, or take a week off. And you said, let me get at you a bit later. And then at 1 o'clock, you send me the message and the picture of Tasha outside and the awning on the ground.
Yeah.
I didn't get that at 1 o'clock in the morning because even though I was awake because of the wind and all the stuff that was going on, I didn't check my phone. But at 8:22 in the morning on Sunday morning, I send the message, so no podcast today. And you're like, whoa, okay, so I have power. Do you? My parents don't, and they're not that far away from you. I'm like, I do, sir, but still no podcast today. And then I ended up calling you, and I'm like, dude, your freaking awning blew off. You were up at 1 o'clock in the morning. We're not doing a podcast today. We're just not worrying about this crap at all. This weekend was just too much insanity. Fuck that.
Yeah, and then, of course, you were straight up like, bro, you need a mental health day, man.
We get into this weekend, and Friday we're trying to do the podcast this weekend, and you have power issues at your house. You have the power go down just in your neighborhood. Just in your neighborhood.
So it was just our block. The power went down. It turns out it was an equipment failure that so it was PG&E's fault. It was their equipment went out or something like that. They had taken care of it in a few hours. But it was like on Friday. So this is, I know we've said it, but it's Sunday. So Friday evening is when we like to do our podcast, but apparently that's just not what the universe wants us to do right now. So Friday in the middle of the day, our power just dies out, and it's just our block. Like, it's the street north of us, they're fine. And our power is, we normally tend to have priority on our grid because our grid's attached to the police station's grid. So if the police station power goes out, they're fixing it like immediately. And that's great. But this was an equipment failure of like some distributor box or something like that that was directly only in our block. So we didn't know how long it was going to last because there was no direct, like, we're not connected to the police or the fire department in our specific block, and the school didn't lose power. So there was like one area that was an old folks home or something like that, maybe, right? That it lost power for a little bit, but it was pretty scary for a few hours.
Old people can deal with losing power. Some of them, when they were young, they didn't even have power.
I don't know, man. I'm not sure how many oxygen tanks have to function in there. You know what I mean? Or whatever the hell they're using.
I was gonna say tanks don't need
Yeah,
power
they're just
function,
they're just air pressure, but
machines do. Oxygen machines do.
Yeah. So it depends on.
Most of them have battery backup. So
yeah, I gotcha. So they
have supplemental tanks they can give them, that kind of thing. So
yeah,
whatever. They're not going to live long anyway. They're old.
But, so hey, I've sent you. If you want to set, I think I should be good to. There shouldn't be any incriminating information for anybody. I wouldn't be doxing myself or anybody else if you saw this, because the picture probably isn't that high of a resolution. But if you want to share this on the page, I might block. I think I see a license plate or I think I might see a license plate or an address somewhere, so I'll block those out. But we could share that on the webpage to kind of give an idea of what the road looks like when it rains like super high. When those sheets were coming in, that's what our street looks like. And my driveway is on the other side of the, like, you can't see it, but look at the truck in there. That truck's not moving. That truck is parked on the side of the road. In the same spot where I'd park that car. That car would be like half submerged. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So man, it's been a lot over the last couple of weeks.
And then to add on that, so Friday he's got his power issues. And we're like, all right, let's call it. We're not gonna do our thing. And of course, Friday morning, my wife and I went out and did our shopping Friday morning because again, this Saturday we weren't gonna go full out again. I did a little bit of shopping, but we weren't gonna go full out because the Niners had a playoff game, which is supposed to be a big storm affair because we're having all these storms in Northern California.
Right.
And that's yesterday, Saturday. So Saturday the 14th. And so while Mike's power is out, him and I are talking a little bit. I'm doing a little bit of work. Him and I are talking a little bit, bovine related humor. And I'll leave it at that.
I love it.
We're talking. Okay, we're not going to do the podcast. We're going to do it on Sunday, no problem. Which is a good thing. Because on Friday evening, Friday evening at about 9:00 at night or so. Yeah, about 9:00, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 9:00 at night. One of my idiot cats, and I call them idiots because they are idiots, but one of my idiot cats decides we have one of those automatic watering things that's like it's you plug it in the wall and it's like a little fountain to water the for the pets. It's a water fountain for them to drink out of. And we've had it there for like 3 or 4 years now. The dogs drink out of it, the cats drink out of it. It cycles the water, so it's got that fountain effect. They like it, right?
Right.
Recently, this idiot cat has been kind of being right up against, because it's near a wall, and then the outlet's behind it off to the corner, and there's a bookshelf right next to the outlet. So the outlet's kind of in the back corner of where this thing is, where it's plugged into, right? Where this water dish is. And the cat's been kind of rubbing up against the wall and trying to get almost behind the water dish, which it can't because it's up near the wall. And so my wife and I sitting in the living room watching TV, and I hear this kind of a clatter happening, something happening in the kitchen. And this cat start yowling, and our two cats sound very different. We know which cat is which. Mm-hmm. So we know which cat it was. I hear yowling. I get up, I'm running in there. This cat's underneath the table, the kitchen table, and his front paws are kind of almost curled up. His head is kind of pointing down, and he's yowling. He's in pain. He's hurt somehow.
That's terrible.
And so I pull the chairs out. I get the cat out. I'm picking him up, and he normally does not like to be picked up, but he actually doesn't have a problem with picking him up at this point.
No, that means that means he's really hurt.
I tell my wife, Sassy's hurt. That's the cat's name, Sassy. Sassy's hurt. Get in here. She comes in. I set him down on the ground, kind of next to where she's at, and he goes down on all four paws. So he brings his front paws out, and he's still meowing like he's pissed, but not yowling in pain in the same way. He's shaking his head a little bit. My wife's kneeling down, trying to see how he's doing, trying to talk to him and pet him and whatnot. And he's reacting to it just a little slower and still meowing loud. And I'm looking around, seeing, did something fall? Did he drop something? Something hit him? What happened? And I look by the water dish, and again, I noticed he's been nosing around and doing, his curiosity bullshit. And the plug that's plugged into the wall is just maybe a millimeter or two, just barely pulled away from the thing. And the only thing I can think of, the only thing that logically makes sense from the way that he was acting and what it looked like he was hurt, that fucker went and nosed the outlet and possibly pushed it out of the wall a little bit and shocked his ass. He shocked him to his damn self. And I say that to my wife. She's like, well, yeah, his tail is a bit fluffed out, and his reaction is about what you'd expect if you maybe electrocuted yourself. So either with his face or with his paw or something, I think he touched that plug-in and electrocuted his damn self.
Jesus.
Damn cat electrocuted himself. Now, he's perfectly fine and is in fact sitting right here next to my chair begging to be petted by me because he knows I'm talking about him. Yes, stupid, I am talking about you. Dumbass cat. But the dumbass cat story doesn't end. We immediately unplugged that water thing. We've had it there for 3 or 4 years, but like, okay, fine, it hurt him. Now we're worried about it being there. Even though we've not had an issue this entire time, now we have to worry about it being there. So in my trip yesterday, where I didn't get to go get more tacos when I really wanted more tacos, I did get another watering thing for them. One of those gravity fed ones. You have the big jug on top and then the tray below, and it gravity feeds the water in. Because we got 4 animals drinking from it. So if we don't have something that gives at least a decent amount of water, we're going to be refilling that thing way too often. So we got that set. I got that to get set up for him. Got that set up yesterday. We do our things yesterday. Watched the football game yesterday. I'll touch on that in a minute. Watched a football game yesterday. Everything's great. Everything's fine. We're going to bed for the night. I'm sitting in there, going to the bathroom, getting ready to go to bed. And just to understand the layout of our house, our living room and our kitchen are kind of connected to each other. There's, a countertop in between that we have like fish tanks and stuff on. And then the bathroom is right off of there, and the bathroom has 2 doors in it. One that leads to the living room, one that leads to a bedroom downstairs, which is our bedroom, mine and my wife's bedroom. The grandmother has the master bedroom for the house because it gives her her own private bathroom and a little bit more room so she can have privacy. She can have a bed and a reclining chair and a TV in her room. So I'm right by our where our living room and our kitchen is, and I noticed I said there's a counter that has fish tanks on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 fish tanks and a frog tank, firebelly toads, which are poisonous, not venomous, but poisonous.
Okay.
Kitchen has the standard kitchen cabinets and whatnot, and again, this cat electrocuted his ass, and he's been a little bit squirrely since then, which is to be expected. You electrocuted your ass. I've electrocuted myself a few times on regular outlets, and I even electrocuted myself on 220 once. That's the thing you plug dryers into.
Yeah.
I've been electrocuted on that before. That one hurts. Oh man, that one hurts. You can't move your arm after that one for a while.
I was gonna say.
I was still young though, so I bounced back fairly quickly.
Oh my God.
But
Any heart problems, James?
no, actually, my heart's perfectly fine. I've had it tested multiple times.
Okay, I might check that cat's heart though.
Twice. Huh?
I might check that cat's heart though.
We'll
Okay.
No, I've been to the ER twice for remember we had the discussion about chest pains and going to the ER. I've been to the ER twice with chest pains and had EKGs done immediately, because when a dude my size goes into the ER and says he's having chest pains, they only think that there's one conclusion, because I'm a fat dude. So they're like, "Oh, you're dying. Your heart is stopping. You're dying because you're having chest pains." And guess what? Both times, really bad heartburn.
Wow.
Both times. Yeah, did full images on my heart, EKGs, full images on my heart. No occlusion of any of my arteries or blood vessels. My heart's perfectly fine. Actually exceptionally healthy, to the point of confusing the fuck out of the doctors, going, "How can you be this fat and have a healthy heart?" They don't actually say that, but that's what they're really saying. So yeah. All good. But anyway. I'm sitting going to the bathroom, getting ready to go to bed. My wife is already in bed. And I hear a crash again. Like big crash. So I'm like pulling up clothing, running out the bathroom door to find that this idiot cat had either tried to jump up on the kitchen cabinets and didn't make it, or jumped up there and then was jumping down and landed on a glass lid on the frog tank, the firebelly toad tank that we have. Landed on the glass lid, knocked the glass lid into the tank, which had, wood features in it, and broke the glass lid.
Oh man.
Also sitting on there was on top of that tank, the tank has a little bit of water in it. Sitting on top of that tank was a power strip that had all the other tanks plugged into it. Luckily, that didn't fall into the water. But broken lid and everything. He's sitting in his little cat thing, just like, what the hell happened? I don't know. So I go to try to get him out, see if he's cut anywhere. He won't come out of there, but I'm not getting any blood on me. I don't see any blood anywhere. So I'm like, okay, I'm guessing he's all right. And I have to then fish this lid out, fish what piece of glass I can find. Luckily, it's the tempered glass that like breaks off in cubes and doesn't have sharp edges.
Right.
So we don't necessarily have to worry about anything getting cut, but we found most of the glass, but there are probably a few small pieces that are sunk down in the water and in the rocks at the bottom of this tank. So we've pulled that out, and then we had to go find another lid, because these are poisonous toads that, like, if you lick them or touch them or whatnot, it'll make you sick and die, which, we have at least one dog that would try to eat them. The stupid dog that we have, he would try to eat them and he would probably die. So, and probably this one cat this dumb cat, Sassy, he would probably also try to eat them and die from it. And he's already shocked himself and then either attempted to jump to a great height and fallen, or fallen from a great height, whatever. I don't know what he's trying to do to himself at this point. Maybe he needs some Xanax or something. Maybe he's depressed kitty. But damn. And so we have to go scramble to find a lid to put on the damn thing and figure out, okay, this is a makeshift lid. We do not want to deal with this. How are we going to stop this and have something set up we're not going to stop this cat from jumping up on the kitchen cabinets. So we can't get the same top on it, because he'll just break it again. So, what do we get for a top for this thing, so that we can, get this right, and going through all the different options. And that's, like 2 nights in a row, this cat's trying to do this. And it's almost if this year has started off like there's some things that have been very good about this year, but there's some wacky things going on with like weather and pets and just like nature is like screw all of you people this year. So yeah, it's one of those years already.
Yeah. 2 weeks in, dude. 2 weeks in.
Good news. You want some good news?
What?
Good news. Good news. The 49ers played in their first playoff game of the year. Yesterday at Levi Stadium.
I did get not by detail, but I did get a spoiler on that. I am not going to mention. I'm going to let you have that one.
The 49ers are still having to use their third string quarterback, the last pick of the draft this last year, Brock Purdy, as their quarterback, because Jimmy Garoppolo is still on the mend. But here's the thing, though. Jimmy Garoppolo may still be on the mend, and Jimmy Garoppolo may be available by next week. It's humanly possible. But Jimmy Garoppolo ain't going to play. In fact, I would be surprised if Jimmy Garoppolo ever played in a 49er uniform again, although that's going to depend on some end-of-the-year scenarios and what direction the team decides to go.
Isn't that what they did with Alex Smith, though, too?
With what?
Didn't they do that with Alex Smith, too?
Alex Smith was a different situation, different coaches, different situation. And Brock Purdy is not the same type of quarterback as Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick was more based on his athletic capability. He was not necessarily a very good, as good of a pocket passing quarterback, and reading the defense, going through all your proper reads type of quarterback. He was maybe a 1-2 read run quarterback.
Interesting. Okay.
Brock Purdy, not so much. Which, by the way, Colin Kaepernick, very, very gifted athlete, very good quarterback in that type of a scheme. If he was in a scheme similar to what Lamar Jackson is in Baltimore, he could very much thrive just as Lamar Jackson has thrived in that type of a scheme. You need to build a proper scheme for him. When he was being schemed properly, he was a very successful quarterback. When they tried to turn him into a pocket passing quarterback, that's when he started having more of his issues, because that's not where his skill set is.
Right.
The thing about it is you need to work within the skill set of the quarterback. But Brock Purdy was just somebody that, he was taken last pick of the draft. He wasn't expected to do anything. He was third string until Trey Lance got hurt, and Jimmy Garoppolo had to be the starting quarterback. And then Purdy was second string, and they never figured Purdy would go into play. Actually, funny enough, there's one person I know that was super, super, super high on Brock Purdy back in the preseason games, the 3 preseason games, and I'll admit, I talked with him during the 3 preseason games, and I agreed that Brock Purdy looked pretty damn good. But this guy was like, no, Purdy's like my favorite quarterback on the 49ers right now. In preseason, I was like, okay, we'll see how it happens. But that dude was right. That would be announcer Scott.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. That would be our friend announcer Scott.
Nice.
Yeah, no, he was super high on Brock Purdy. Well, so far, since Brock Purdy in the regular season, at the end of the regular season, he started. He came in the Dolphins game and won the Dolphins game, and then he started 5 games in the regular season. He won all 5 games, and not only did he win all 5 games, it wasn't the defense that actually won those games. Him directing the offense actually won those games. More importantly, he threw at least 2 touchdowns in each game, which is almost completely unheard of for a rookie quarterback to come in their first 5 games, throw 2 touchdowns per game. It's only been done a couple of times ever in the NFL. He's being linked into like big time names like Dan Marino, who he grew up being a fan of. Even though Marino had stopped playing by then, his dad was a fan, so he grew up being taught to be a fan of Dan Marino. And Ben Roethlisberger, who, despite his off-field antics, was really a good football player. So there's things that he's doing that are rather unprecedented. Well, yesterday was his first start in the playoffs as a rookie, and typically rookies don't do very well with their first start in the playoffs. Except Brock Purdy went and threw 3 touchdowns, and in the second half of the game, but at halftime the game was 17-16 with the Seattle Seahawks, who happened to be the team that we ended up having to play against, the fucking Seahawks. The Seahawks were ahead 17 and we were at 16. And the Seahawks did not score again until the last 5 minutes of the game. The 49ers went on a 25-point run.
Yeah.
In the second half, just offensively. See, the thing that's been talked about is how great the defense is. Now the defense pulled the team through up until these last 5 games of the season and this first playoff game, where it's actually been the defense not playing as well, and the offense has just kept scoring. This is the best quarterback play that has happened on the 49ers since Kyle Shanahan took over. With all the various quarterbacks that he's dealt with, this is the best quarterback play that we've seen out of a guy that was drafted last, that may not have even been drafted at all by any other team. This guy is doing this, something that nobody, except apparently announcer Scott, would have ever expected would happen. He has won 1 playoff game, which is just, like I say, almost unprecedented. Threw 3 touchdowns in the game. Ran for a touchdown himself in the game. That puts him in comparison to people like Joe Montana.
Yeah.
So now they're waiting for, now the Niners, having won this game, it was 41 to 24, I think. Or 23. 41 to 23 was the score. Because they tried a 2-point conversion and they weren't able to convert on the 2-point conversion. So 41 to 24 was the end score of this game. This game was just ridiculous. There was even a play near the end that it was a 3rd down play in the red zone. Multiple times Brock Purdy had to scramble because the defense was doing its job really good. The Seahawks defense was. This specific one, he scrambled around, ended up throwing a dart pass to the corner of the end zone, hit the receiver, Brandon Ayuk, one of the Niners receivers, right in the chest. Ayuk was on his tippy toes in the back corner of the end zone. A defensive back in front of him, and it just went over that defensive back's hands, hit Ayuk in the chest, and Ayuk couldn't hold on to it. If he had caught that ball, that play would be the highlight reel play for the whole week.
Wow.
It was such a good play. If somebody like Patrick Mahomes had done that play, they would be talking about that for the rest of the playoffs. It was absolutely amazing, the things that he was doing in this game. Now they have to wait to see who wins today with the Giants and the Vikings. The Giants are going in to play the Vikings. If the Giants win, the Giants move on next week to go to Philadelphia, and the Niners get whoever wins the Monday night game. If the Vikings win, we automatically get the Vikings because the Monday night game is between the 4th and 5th seed. The Vikings are the 3rd seed. So regardless, the 4th and 5th, the winner of that would go to Philadelphia, who's the 1st seed and had a bye week this week, because the Niners were the 2nd seed. So we're just waiting to see what happens, to know who our opponent is next week. No matter what, they're playing in Santa Clara at Levi Stadium again next week. But hey, 1 playoff game down with the rookie quarterback sensation Brock Purdy. We'll see what happens here, but this has been a crazy, insane year to be on your 3rd quarterback and still dominating and winning, and actually having the offense play better than it's ever played before with all the other quarterbacks. More importantly, over the last 5 games of the season, if you compare Brock Purdy to every other quarterback in the NFL over the last 5 games, because that's the only true comparison, you can't compare the whole season because it's only been the last 5 games he's been playing, he leads in every statistical category, including quarterback rating.
Wow.
It's a level of insanity what's going on right now, how this is happening. So yeah, I mean, so many scenarios for after the year. You have Trey Lance, who they spend a bunch of draft picks on, but what's funny about that is those drafts are gone. There's only one draft pick, the 1st round pick from this upcoming draft, the 2023 draft, is the last big pick that was part of the trade to move up to get Trey Lance. And that pick is going to be in the high 20s, high 30s, the end of the 1st round anyway. So the Niners actually did a really good thing with their picks. They didn't give any good picks away for moving down to get Trey Lance. So do you keep Trey Lance and try to, make him the backup to Brock Purdy? Because if Brock Purdy keeps going the way he's going, he hasn't won a game, or he hasn't lost a game yet. He is undefeated so far since he started playing.
Wow.
If he ends his season undefeated, which would mean winning next week, winning the week after, and then going to the Super Bowl and winning that, if that happens, he has to be the new franchise quarterback for the 49ers. You can't.
There'd be no reason
we're going to bring Trey Lance.
Yeah, there'd be no reason not to do that.
Yeah, there's all the media speculation of, oh, the Niners may bring in a big name to finish out their career. No, they're not. Not with Brock Purdy playing the way that he's playing. Why do you need to pay anybody else to come in and do this? Brock Purdy got them to the kept them going to get to the playoffs, and now he's won one playoff game. Again, if he wins the Super Bowl, Brock Purdy is set. Everybody else, like, fuck everybody else. Brock Purdy is our quarterback.
Yeah,
that's simple, that easy.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wins, I'm waiting like I do every year. I wait till the end of the year, till the season is over. And I waited until right after the NFC Championship game last year. Because the Niners, they shouldn't have lost the NFC Championship game, but they did. And that's, it's what happens. They lost the NFC Championship game. And literally right after that game was over, directly after that game was over, I mean, I shut the TV off because I didn't want to watch the Rams and their celebration because fuck the Rams. But I turned the channel off. I didn't turn the TV completely off. We went to watch something else. I got online and I ordered I'd been waiting all year to do it. They had come out with the throwback uniforms for the '94 season, which had it was the red with the white numbers and the black drop shadow on the numbers, which is my favorite uniforms that the Niners have ever had.
Oh, okay.
I went online, bought my George Kittle, the tight end for the Niners now, number 85. I bought my George Kittle jersey last year.
Nice.
I was going to buy some other ones, but I'm going to buy George Kittle. I really only want to get one. Let's get George Kittle. So I got me my George Kittle last year at the end of the year. I wait till the end of the year to do it. The reason I wait till the end of the year is when you play in the Super Bowl, you get a little patch on the jersey for the Super Bowl year. It'll be some kind of a design, usually the Lombardi trophy with the number of the Super Bowl that you're in. You get a little patch. I do have one of those jerseys for Colin Kaepernick for the Super Bowl that he played in. You were there. The Super Bowl that he played in and lost against the Ravens. I do have a jersey from that. But like I said, I wait till the end of each year to do it. And that's because if they make it to the Super Bowl and if they win the Super Bowl, I want the jersey with the patch on it, with the Super Bowl patch on it. So I have to wait till the end of the year. If they don't make it, I just get, a normal jersey, whatever. But I wait till the end of the year for it. If all those things do happen, if the Niners do get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy, guarantee I am getting a number 13 jersey. Guarantee.
Cool.
Not even a second thought about that. I don't care if next year he comes out and he completely bombs. Doesn't matter. If the dude takes us there and wins the Super Bowl for us, hell yes, I am getting one of his jerseys. I will celebrate that forever. So yeah, it's been a nice football year so far for the 2 or 3 weeks. But for everything else, man, we thought we left all the craziness behind, but every year we start getting more and more craziness. I mean,
yeah.
If I was one of those conspiracy theory, end of days nuts, I'd be like, okay, we had our plague. Now we're getting all of the natural disasters. What comes next? Oh crap! There's a comet coming that we haven't seen since like prehistoric times or whatever, or like Cro-Magnon times or whatever. There we go. End of times.
There it is. Happening. That's the one.
Holy crap! Blame the llamas.
God, that is so not even. Who the hell? Stop doing that!
What?
Don't you what me? You know exactly what you did.
I don't know what I did.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you don't. I bet you don't.
Llama face.
All right. Well,
that's enough for our craziness.
I was going to say, where do we go from here? I feel like this is a good closer, man.
Yeah, so that's why we had a week break.
Yep.
That's all the various things that happened. Again, I implore you, if you are anywhere near a Taco Twist, give it a try. Yeah. I'm going to get back over there as soon as I possibly can. Admittedly, my fried chicken for lunch yesterday was still pretty good.
Yeah.
But it was no Taco Twist. Taco Twist was amazing. Be safe during storms. And if for some reason you forget something in your house during wet weather and you need to go back inside, walk carefully.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. I think that's what needs to be done. All right. I've got other shit that I've got to tackle today too. I got to catch up on a couple of my other media-based endeavors.
I've got a. I'm not sure what I have to do. What are you doing, Cat? Seriously, dude, you are weird. Anyway, Mike.
Is this a result of the shock?
I don't know. He does this stuff anyway. I think the shock is a result of this kind of stuff from him. Mike.
Yes.
Where are people listening to us talking about the blowing winds, the freaky cats, and the tacos?
You can be checking us out at thexennialchronicles.com or zencron.com. If you don't want to type that much, you could also check us out on most major podcast platforms and streaming services, including streaming services like YouTube as well. Check us out there. We have our podcast up in video format, and when I actually have the ability to, if life doesn't completely fall apart on me and we can't put a podcast out, and I actually record a video that I then have the ability to edit to put up on the page so that you get an update on what's going on when things fall apart. It will be on our YouTube page. So go ahead and find us on YouTube. Search for the Xennial Chronicles on YouTube if you can. Or you could be listening to this in YouTube format right now. If you are, make sure that you head down to the bottom of the video there and click the like button. And then next to that, click the subscribe button if you haven't already, so that the next podcast or video we put out is there. And there's also one more thing. James, what is that?
Like the bell.
That's right. Click the bell to make sure that you get notified the next podcast or video we put out, because apparently, according to this year, it's pretty haphazard so far. Like, we don't know how piecemeal it's going to be. We're going to try to be weekly, but I guess we can't make any guarantees when the universe does this kind of shit to us. So what are we going to do?
Yeah, the universe hates us right now. Anyway, while you're checking that out, please make sure to check out Mike's other two YouTube pages. He has his page that he was actually referencing doing work for with his wife, Chronicles Games. This is them.
Yep.
Basically, at this point, they're just playing video games and having fun playing video games.
We are, but we actually started tackling our timelines properly now. It's great.
Are you going to tackle the game that I suggested when your wife put out a suggestion thing for games?
No, because that game doesn't have part of a timeline establishment aside from every other fucking Star Wars. You could watch the movies, man.
But it's a fun game.
It is a fun game, but it's not within a timeline.
But it's my favorite game.
I understand, but there's not a timeline or a lore that's aside from everybody got together and raced. Like, what kind
There's not a lore?
There's not a lore to, like, look, man, I mean, as far as within that game's microcosm of the gigantic universe that exists within it, there's no way to incorporate the game into the lore of the other games that actually explain the story.
Still, it's a fun game.
It is a fun game, that's true.
Anyway, check that out, like that, subscribe, click the bells, all that beautiful stuff with Chronicles Games. And then Mike has one other page where he talks about nothing but music.
Yeah.
Ruling Note Music. He also does a bunch of videos, parody songs. Most recently, some Christmas parody songs. If you have not seen them yet, check them out. Again, That is Ruling Note Music.
Yeah.
His other YouTube page. So please look at all those things when you're, when you have power, when you're hiding away from the storm, whatever time you need something to watch, listen to, whatever to make you not have to deal with or not have to think about the literal craziness of the universe right now.
Absolutely.
Also get some tacos.
Yes, absolutely get some tacos.
We need to talk to the Taco Twist people. We need to see if we can get some kind of sponsorship deal going on. We mention them every episode to the 3 people who listen, and maybe we get free tacos. That's enough for me.
That's a possibility.
Free fries too. Oh my god, the fries. Anyway, thank you for listening, and we'll be back sometime.
Yeah, who knows? We'll figure it out.
Yep.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in, friends. The journey continues next week.